Hello students, welcome to Learner's Planet. Let us continue with the chapter Control and Coordination. Now after studying a lot about this type of process, we know very well that in the higher organisms or as we were discussing about the human beings, so in human beings there are two systems which are working for the process of control and coordination. Now which processes or which system is working for this process? It is the nervous system and the hormonal system, or it is better known as a glandular system, as it is not necessary that each gland is going to secrete a hormone, but of course they are secreting several different messengers which are essentially required for the process of control and the coordination. So in general we can say that this nervous system is the one which is comprised of nervous tissue, which includes what? Brain, spinal cord and the nerves. So we had studied that how they are actually performing their own function. The another system or the another function which is maintained, another system which is maintaining the same function is what? It is the glandular system. In the previous session we had already studied that there are different type of glands, like autocrine. It is a type of gland which is secreting the chemical messengers and itself is a target tissue. It itself is having a detector for the same particular messenger, and therefore it is controlling the function of the same cell, that is itself. The next is what? The paracrine, in which the secretions are secreted out, it is diffused out of the cell and then it is reaching the cells which are in the nearest proximity. That means it is controlling the processes of nearby cells. Then after that, what was the another type? It was endocrine. So endocrine is the one which is just transferring its own content or these chemical messengers into the blood, and then blood is circulating in the entire body, right? So the target tissues which are even far away, they will receive these chemical messengers and they will perform their function. Beside this, the another one is the exocrine, in which these messengers, they are transported to the target site through the duct. So of course duct is having a particular length and therefore it is in direct contact with the particular hormone or the particular chemical messenger. So we had studied that in the endocrine system, it is a major part and is comprised of different type of glands which are secreting the hormones. So in the previous session we had just started with the endocrine system. As per syllabus we are going to discuss more and more about the particular topic. So what is this endocrine system? It is a group of endocrine glands. As we had discussed that what are these endocrine glands? They are those particular glands which are actually secreting the hormones and they are transferring it to the target site through the blood. So blood is circulating all around in the body and therefore they are transported to the target site. Now each cell is not going to respond to the hormone. Only the one which is having a detector or which is having a receptor site for a particular messenger or this hormone is going to respond to the particular hormone. So in such a case, the hormone is going to be a stimulus and the response would be given further according to the type of hormone and so on. So in this we can summarize that, as we had already done in the previous session, that these hormones are very specific in their nature. They perform their functions in a very different way. So they are the messengers which are having a chemical nature, and of course they are secreted by the ductless endocrine glands. Now it is necessary to specify this word, that is ductless. The reason is because it is circulated through the blood. There is no duct for this particular gland. Then if they are secreted in some abnormal concentration, so they will be very harmful. Even if they are in the less quantity than the required one, it is problematic. If it is more than that, again it is going to create various sort of problems. For example, the growth factors or the growth hormone. This growth hormone is required for the growth of the body, right? So if it is secreted in the less quantity, then the person will suffer from the short height, and that condition is known as dwarfism. Whereas if it is secreted in very large quantity, then what will happen? The person will have abnormal height. It will be so tall, right? And that condition will be known as gigantism. So these are required to be secreted in a proper concentration. Now after they perform their function, they are usually destroyed. They will never remain in the bloodstream forever. They are utilized and later on they will be removed from the body. Then they are having a specific target site. Now this target site is actually decided by the presence of the detectors or the receptors over its membrane. So as these hormones, they come in contact with that particular cell, there it is going it is recognized by the receptors. There will be a sort of binding over there, and then a chemical change will occur inside the cell, and therefore there will be the stimulation for a particular function, or the cells will get activated so as to perform their function. Now as we had seen that they are having these type of nature, there are different type of endocrine glands. What these glands are, we had just introduced in the previous session. Just let us have a brief idea about it. You can see this diagram here. There are different type of glands which are shown, or they are highlighted here in the diagram. That is hypothalamus, pineal body, pituitary gland, parathyroids and thyroid glands, which are located in this throat region. Then the thymus, liver, adrenal gland, kidney is labeled here, but dear students, kidney is not a gland, right? Adrenal gland is situated over this kidney, hence the kidney has been shown. So adrenal gland is a gland which is located over the anterior side of the kidney. Then pancreas, then gonads, which is like ovary in the case of female, and then placenta is shown here, which is developed during the pregnancy. However, this placenta is again not a a gland. Further, there is testes in case of male. Now in this diagram, both these male and female locations are shown here, but actually they both are not present together in any living organism, in the case of human beings or in the case of unisexual organism. So ovary is always present in the female, and the situation or the location is somewhere here in the lower abdominal site. Whereas testes is located outside the abdominal cavity, that is in the scrotum. So now in today's session we are going to study about each and every type of gland as is highlighted in this particular diagram. Let us discuss what it is. So each and every gland is having a particular location in the body. The secretion are always very specific, and of course each type of hormone secreted is having a definite function in the body, and if the normal function has to occur, these hormones are essentially required. So the very first type of endocrine gland is hypothalamus. This hypothalamus is generally known as a master gland. You know where this master gland is actually located? We had seen in the diagram also, isn't it? It is somewhere located in the brain, or we can say in the inside the brain also. The position is actually near the junction of midbrain and the hindbrain. So it is towards the posterior side of the brain. Not exactly the posterior, but of course towards the lower side of the brain, and that side is having a structure known as diencephalon. So at the base of this diencephalon, the hypothalamus is located. Now this hypothalamus is actually secreting the hormone, a different type of hormones here, which are known as releasing hormones. These releasing hormones, they are of different kind, as they are regulating the hormones which are secreted by the pituitary gland. In short, we can say this hypothalamus is releasing out a particular type of hormone which is giving a command to the pituitary gland, or it is activating these pituitary gland so as to just release out a particular type of hormone. Pituitary gland is a specific gland which is actually meant for the secretion of variety of hormones. Now variety of hormones is not like hundreds or thousands of hormones, but of course a different or a good range of different type of hormones are secreted by this particular gland. So each is required for the specific function, as well as the different types are released here, which controls the activation or inhibition, or in short the regulation of different other type of glands. So this gland is actually releasing out the particular hormones which are having a specific function, as well as they are releasing various different type of hormones which are again controlling the secretion of other type of hormones. Now this particular function of this pituitary gland is under the control of the hypothalamus. So whether it has to secrete the particular stimulatory hormone or it has to secrete the inhibitory hormone, that information would be transferred here by the releasing hormones. So therefore this hypothalamus is a very important gland of the body. It is not directly involved in any particular function, but of course it is controlling each and every function of the body by controlling the control unit of the endocrine system. Which control unit? That is the pituitary gland. So the another gland is the pineal body. This pineal body is situated at the roof of the brain. Actually we are saying it's roof of the brain, but it is better to say that it is located nearer to the pituitary gland. So over there, why we are calling it the roof? Because the cerebrum is there, and below that midbrain and the hindbrain are located, right? So the topmost part, that is cerebrum, is called as the roof of the brain, and below that these particular glands are located. Now they are especially secreting the hormone which is known as the melatonin. Now these are the particular hormones which help in regulating the complexion of the skin, as well as it regulates the working of the gonads. What does it mean? See, they are secreting some of the stimulatory hormones which are controlling the production of melanin pigment by the melanocytes. So these melanocytes, that is the melanin producing cells in the skin, they are producing the melanin, and as much as this melanin is present, the complexion is somewhat darker. So that stimulating hormone is basically secreted by the pineal body. Beside this, the another function is the regulation of the working of gonads. This type of hormone actually it delays the sexual development. That is the specific function. It is regulating it by controlling the growth at the particular age. So this is how the pineal body is having a particular importance. So the next the next gland is pituitary gland. Now this gland is located beneath the forebrain. Beneath the forebrain, of course, that means towards the underside of the cerebrum. As we said already, so these hypothalamus, pineal body and pituitary gland, they are located very near to each other, just below the cerebrum, or nearer to the midbrain and the hindbrain. Now this pituitary gland is a very important gland of the body, as it is controlling most of the body functions. These particular glands, they are secreting different types of hormones, and each is having a very great importance in a particular function, as well as some other hormones are secreted which are controlling the functions of the other glands also. So pituitary, besides having its own particular function for a particular thing or the process, they are also regulating the functions of the other particular glands. Let us just have a summary of each type of things. So the very first hormone secreted by here is this gland is the growth hormone. Growth means increase in height, weight and number of what? Of the cells. So this particular hormone, that is a growth hormone, it is secreted by pituitary gland and is supporting this type of increase. Now if this increase is supposed to take place, that means what? The rapid cell division must occur. So growth hormones are having this type of stimulatory function, due to which more and more cells are produced, and when this growth occurs, what will happen? It will participate in the process of repair, then in the process of replacement and the reproduction. So this is how the growth hormone is essentially required for the growth of a particular organism. Now growth hormone, it is also known as somatotrophic hormone. So commonly it is called as STH. So you know why it is known as somatotropic hormone? Generally tropic is to it is used with in context to, we can say, like growth, and somato means the cells which are forming the structure. So these body cells or these vegetative cells, it can be better understood by this term. The vegetative cells are actually known as the somatic cells. So these somatic cells are grown because of the process, because of the secretion of this hormone. So as vegetative cells are growing, so they are actually acted upon by the hormone, and thus the hormone is named, or it is called by this particular name. Now what are the different functions? As we are saying, it is helping in what? It is helping in the process of growth of an organism, right? So the very first function, you can say, how it is supporting this increase in number of all this. Basically, as the number increases, the size of an organism will also increase. So in what you can visualize is the hormone is actually helping in the development of bones and the muscles. And as these bones and the muscles will grow, what will happen? The height of a person is going to increase. The size is going to increase. And that is what under the control of this growth hormone. Nowadays it is said the person who is having a short height, in them the height can be increased by these particular hormonal treatments. So providing such type of hormonal treatment is not so good, as it is going to of course affect the natural process of your body system. Directly or indirectly, it is going to affect the various other secretions also. You know why it is so? Because this pituitary gland is also involved in the regulation of the secretion of hormones from other endocrine glands. Now it is one of the tropic hormone which is secreted here. There are so many different type of tropic hormones secreted by the pituitary gland from a region nearer to the site from where the growth hormone is secreted. So these type of tropic hormones, they are actually controlling the secretions of other endocrine glands. Tropic, or we can say, they are stimulating the hormones which are secreted. They are going to stimulate the function of the other glands. For example, thyroid glands, parathyroid glands, adrenal glands, the secretion is under their function is under the control of the pituitary gland. They will secrete out a particular stimulatory hormone. This stimulatory hormone will activate a particular type of endocrine gland, and as they get activated, their own secretion would be released. So this secretion what is coming out now is further going to control the basic function further. Now similarly we can say, as this stimulation is taking place or the activation is taking place, the process has to be controlled on the another side. That means only if the stimulation is taking place, these glands will continuously secrete their own particular hormone. But this should not take place all the time. It should be as per requirement, isn't it? So for example, let us say adrenal. It is involved in the secretion of adrenaline, and this adrenaline hormone stimulates various functions, and means it just takes us in the excited state. Now if you are always in the excited state, can you imagine what will be the situation? People will start calling you mad, isn't it? So that function should be controlled. If adrenaline has been secreted out, it should be further controlled, isn't it? Similarly for the thyroid, if this thyroid is secreting out the hormone in very large quantities, we may suffer from various type of diseases. Or if it is not, it is in the low concentration, we can further secrete with the deficiency type of diseases, isn't it? So in short, what we want to say here is that these particular different type of endocrine glands, they are under the control of the regulatory hormones secreted by the pituitary gland. Now these regulatory, as we had shown you the examples with respect to the stimulation. But on the another side, they are controlled further. Like if they sufficiently they have secreted their own particular hormone, then it should be inhibited. So another hormone is actually secreted from the pituitary gland, which is having an inhibitory nature. So those inhibitory hormones, they will further suppress the endocrine gland, and therefore the secretion would be stopped. And this is how these particular pituitary glands are going to control the function of the endocrine glands. Now, as we already stated earlier, that hypothalamus is controlling the secretion from the pituitary gland, right? So this particular information, that whether it has to secrete a positive regulatory hormone or negative, that means an activator or an inhibitor. So in that either case, that command is going to be given by the hypothalamus. Beside this, as we already said, that it is supporting the growth of an organism. Now if it is secreted in hyper or hypo amount, then what will happen? There will be a, suppose it is secreted in the larger quantity according to a requirement, then what will happen? Your height will continuously grow up, and this is going to create a problem. The disease would be known as gigantism. In that case, a person will have an abnormal height. Now as this abnormal height is taking place, now you imagine why it is a problem here. The reason is because these hormones are actually controlling the development of the bones, right? So our bones are getting abnormally elongated, due to which it is going to get the strain. There will be it means they will feel some pain also in that, isn't it? There should be a specific moderate length of these particular bones, right? So these muscles which are attached, if they will attach in an abnormal manner, again we are going to suffer. So in any case, these hormones, they should be secreted in a controlled manner. So now it's very clear that deficiency of this particular hormone will result in a disease known as dwarfism, and of course if it is in the higher quantity, then the disease would be known as gigantism. Then in the case in this pituitary gland, there is another particular hormone secreted here, which is known as prolactin. This prolactin is regulating the function of mammary glands. Now the mammary gland, of course these mammary glands are present in which animal? In the mammals. So of course it is having a function related to the mammals. Now mammals, as per example, we are discussing about the human beings. So in the case of human beings, this prolactin is controlling the secretion of the mammary gland. When the secretion will take place? During the breastfeeding, right? A phase after a pregnancy or post-pregnancy period, when a mother has to feed their children or their child with the milk. At that time, the prolactin is having excessive or extensive role. So prolactin is usually secreted at the time of feeding, or it is after the post-pregnancy period. Now this particular gland or this particular hormone which is secreted by this is helping in the enlargement, or it is helping in the secretion of the milk. Now this milk, as we said, is of course secreted at that time, but after this period, that means when the feeding is over, the child grows up to a particular time, but still in some women it is observed that the prolactin levels are high. At that time, what will happen? Now even we can say when there is a nursing mother or there is a feeding mother, and in them the prolactin level are low. So if this level is low, there will be the less secretion of the milk, and if milk is secreted in the less quantity, it is a problem for the child. Even mother faces the problem which are associated with some we can say like depression sort of things, and besides that it is going to affect the child's growth also, because the sufficient supply would not be there, right? So this is what happens when the level is low. Now normally it is not secreted, it is only secreted at that particular period, as we have discussed. Now after this period is over, then prolactin secretion should stop further. Now if it does not, again it creates a problem in the lady. If the female which is having this abnormal rise in the prolactin can create the variation in the tenderness of the breast. Beside that, it can also create problems which are related to the menstrual cycles. That means there will be some irregularity in the release of this menstrual flow. So of course a normal range of prolactin at the right time is required, and that is under the control of the pituitary gland. The next type of hormone secreted is oxytocin. Now what this oxytocin is doing here? This oxytocin will stimulate the contractions of the smooth muscles. When this contraction, which type of contraction? It is related to, basically we can say at the childbirth. The muscles have to contract or relax in a particular pattern. That rhythmic contraction and relaxation should be there, so a child is delivered normally. And this type of contraction and the relaxation is promoted by the oxytocin hormone. And not only this much, even it helps in the lactation. That means prolactin and oxytocin, they together is maintaining or regulating the secretion of the mammary glands. Lactation means what? Lactation means the secretion of the milk from the breast. So this type of feeding or this type of milk secretion is actually under the control of these particular hormones. Beside this, the another hormone which is secreted by the pituitary gland is vasopressin. It is also known as antidiuretic hormone. The spelling mistake is there. We can just correct it out. Well, it is ANTI. So antidiuretic hormone, also it can be written as ADH, all capital. Now these particular hormones, they actually regulate the level of water in the body, or we can say it is helping in the osmoregulation process of the body. Now how this osmoregulation is taking place in the body? It is by maintaining the level of water and electrolyte balance, or the level of salts inside the blood, and that is under the control of the vasopressin. If there is a deficiency of vasopressin, the reabsorption of water would be affected. See, usually what happens? Blood is filtered in our kidney. The nitrogenous waste is also removed out during this process. But what happens is, in the glomerulus, the blood is filtered out into the Bowman's capsule. Right? You remember this point? When we study the excretory system, which is the functional unit of excretory system? It is nephron. Nephron is having a bunch of capillaries, right? And there is a cup-shaped structure which is holding this particular structure, right? So glomerulus will pass on, or it will filter the blood which will go into the Bowman's capsule and is transported further in the next part, that is known as the renal tubule. And over there in this tubule, there will be the reabsorption of the material. During filtration, the things which are required by the body, even they are filtered out, right? So now they have to be reabsorbed. Like if there is glucose or the amino acids or whatever is required for body is taken back into the blood. Then after that there will be the more amount of water that will be reabsorbed further. So this reabsorption of water in the renal tubules is under the control of vasopressin. Now where this function is activated? In the DTH, that is the distal part of the renal tubule. So over there this hormone is secreted if there is more amount of water in the filtrate. So as it is secreted, more and more water would be reabsorbed by the blood, this blood. So this is how, if there is more vasopressin, more and more reabsorption of water will take place and the remaining concentrated urine will be passed. And if there is a deficiency of vasopressin, definitely there will be the release of dilute urine and the frequent urination will occur. In short, we can say this vasopressin is actually secreted and is under the control of water level inside the tubules. But there may be some malfunctioning of the gland in which this less amount of vasopressin is secreted out. So that will be actually a problem. So what problem is arising? Frequent urination and dilute urine. Right, that means more and more more and more amount of water is released out of the body. And this type of situation is known as diabetes insipidus. So deficiency of antidiuretic hormone can lead to a problem known as the diabetes insipidus. So this is all about the specific glands which are situated in the brain region. And further there are much more functions which are related here. We had just given the outline of some of the particular hormones secreted by this particular gland. Further we are going to continue in the next session. We will continue with some different type of glands which are further present in the next part of the body. So thank you so much. Have a nice day. We'll meet you soon in the next session.